How we feeling, man?
Feeling pretty good, although a little anxious. I didn't like
Yeah,
that second period.
yeah, it's
And
okay. It's whatever, man. I mean, the good news is Skinner kept us in.
he did. I can't believe that. We're
Can you
texting
believe
back and
that?
forth. This guy's saving us. I can't believe I'm saying this throughout the
I
game.
want to know how many Oiler fans out there would be like, I admit Skinner saved our skin last night in the second period, man. I think just overall, he had some great saves and timely saves is what we were looking for from this kid. Man, he
Yeah,
came through big time. And
he was he was good last night.
I'm gonna borrow a line from a fan that I heard on the radio. We have to give him his flowers, man. The guy, he
Oh
earned
yeah,
it.
Rob Brown. I heard that. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
thought I thought he played well. I thought we did a pretty good job defending overall for the most part. We
yeah,
did give up quite a few chances though.
yeah,
Um, but for the most part, we kept away from the side to side stuff,
yeah.
and there was a lot of like behind the net, side of the net to the front of the net, which I think he's actually pretty good at, right? So we we stuck it, we kept it. I don't know how to say this. We got outshot like 20 something to like two at some point,
Yeah.
but we were doing the best we could, I guess, to minimize the side to side, which is very important, right?
Well, listen, you got to give props. Dallas was recognizing that they were being outplayed in the first period. They came back. I don't know whatever happened in the first intermission, but they came out flying. Obviously, they don't want to go back. Yeah, they don't want to go back down 3 games to 1. And at that point, the game
No.
was still close, right? They're thinking, we can make something happen here, but it got away from them fast, man. And I think the dagger was the McDavid goal just before the end of the period there, right? With
I mean, we finally woke up. It was
That's right.
interesting. I mean, if we draw parallels to last year, we took a 2-0 lead against them in game three as well. And then Robertson, I think, had a hat trick, and that's all she wrote, basically, right? There were some parallels ish, but I think that one of the things that I noticed is we stopped attacking. For some reason, we stopped attacking. We were having a ton of trouble getting the puck out of the zone. And when we were getting it out of the zone, we were not like handling it clean. And we just, again, stopped attacking. And then they just came wave after wave after wave.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting. I mean, the goalie's making these saves, and when you play, I think you kind of feel the same thing when you're it's still 2-0. You don't actually realize that hey, you're getting caved until they actually score. So
right.
with like about 3 minutes left, I found that he finally started to go, and McDavid was their line was the only line that was generating for a very long time, right? And we just I don't know, we just couldn't get it out. There was a comedy of errors. Like there was one shift, Dry had it, like he looked like he was under control. He had two stars swarm him and he coughed it up, and then I think Lindell got a crazy opportunity out of that. But yeah, like with about 3 minutes to go, we kind of woke up a little bit. And Bouchard, I mean, McDavid's goal was insane. It was a nice little shot. I mean, you could see on the replay he was going right for that side. But what about Bouchard on that? The keep in, but even before that, to send McDavid in first, a lot of people would have just dumped that in, and be like, all right, we've got less than 30, 40 seconds. Let's just get it deep and whatever. But no, Bouchard found McDavid. He went around and almost put it in on that wraparound too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No complaints there, man. And I think even for the team, it kind of showed them. I think they were kind of holding on. But even listening to the morning shows and whatnot, it was deflating for the Stars when that happened, right? It was like
No.
they were holding on up until that point, and then they're like, "We're throwing pucks at the net. We're trying to get to Skinner." I think I think their game plan was, and I could see the board saying this. Their goalie's shaky. We didn't put enough shots on the guy. Let's just pepper him with whatever we can, and that's what they try to do. So some were quality shots, but I felt that Skinner just stood his ground. He made the saves he had to make, and that deflated them. And then when McDavid scored, game over, baby. They just yeah. Let's see what happens. I got a bone to pick though, man. I got a bone to pick with the league because I remember back in the day, I can't recall which two teams it was, but one of the players ran off his mouth saying that there's going to be retribution for something that had happened, and that there was going to be war. It might have been like the Chicago Detroit
Was that for
series.
Tuesday?
Yeah, and
And
you know
then
what?
he went after Moore.
Yeah, the league sent a guy to the game, warned both teams, but they sent a guy to the game to keep an eye on making sure that it doesn't get out of hand and nobody's hurting nobody. The stars come out like Marchman runs off his mouth about the perfect timing and this and that, and they're obviously looking to get some red. Last night they were headhunting, man. I did see it. Michelle, like a couple of hits, he could have taken out Nuge. Nuge could be done for the entire series with that hit. You know what I mean?
That was, in my opinion, right up there. I mean, everybody, all the media guys and stuff are talking about that Connor Brown hit. That was a high hit.
Late hit.
There's mixed emotions on that Connor Brown hit about it being late, but it was definitely high. I think everybody agrees on that. But that Bichelle's play on Nuge, if you watch that, he's got no stick, and
He stuck out his leg.
He also pushed him, right?
That's right, yeah.
And there's people saying that, oh no, he didn't really push him into the. If you watch it, I watched it live and I watched the replay.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Hold on. If they're excusing him for that, how are they going to excuse him for the hit on Frederic?
On Frederic,
the hell was that?
They're not. But that, to me, those two were very similar. He had a guy in a vulnerable position and he took a shot, right? And in both instances, I don't think a guy's expecting something like that, right? Like, you have to respect your opponent. You have to respect the game. And I feel like it was extremely, on both of those plays, were horrible. And I don't get the media giving him a pass on that on the Nugent Hopkins hit. I think most of them would agree. The thing that kills me, though, is even the panel, right? They don't even mention Frederic. And then I think McLean in passing said something, and BX is like, oh, 100%, that's interference, right?
At the very minimum, it's interference. There's not even a question of whether or not that was interference. The intent to injure somebody, knowing he's going towards the goal and pushing him off balance.
What else is that if that's not an intent to injure? What drives me nuts? They're all over the Kulak penalty that wasn't called. But there was 3 or 4 missed calls the other way that were blatant, right?
That's right.
And it's just ridiculous.
No call on any of those incidents, by the way. Nothing on the Nuge thing. Okay, fine. It's too fast. You didn't catch it. Nothing on the Frederic, which is blatant. At the very minimum, it's an interference, if nothing more than that. And then I felt, they're saying, oh, it was a good hockey hit. Yeah, it was a good hockey hit, but it was late. It was high, right in the head, and now potentially we've lost.
Petrovic on Brown?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure if it was concussion protocol that took him out, but obviously he was out and he stayed out. So maybe he failed. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's one of our best penalty killers, and he was playing really well, right? Yeah. I feel like it's interesting because they've got their 6th and 7th D-men running around doing that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, the league's got to look at that. I mean, these are not their top guys, like you said, 6 or 7 D guys getting out there trying to hurt players, because if they're gone, who gives a crap, right? If they're suspended, who gives a crap? It's not like the Stars are going to miss them. But
I mean, Bichelle was he went after Dry as well. Dry was ready for him and kind of did a reverse hit and knocked him down.
Yeah.
But there's a few late hits. There was one instance, I think it was in the first period, behind the net. Wallman, he's played the puck and he's trying to like disengage, and the guy just comes in super late, hits him and pins him, and Dallas ends up having an odd man opportunity and they almost score. Those to me are a lot worse than, oh, this guy, he kind of flicked the puck and it went over the glass, right? Like, I don't know, you got to watch out for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously we're Oilers fans and we're maybe biased that way.
Very unbiased, man. I'm not an Oilers fan. I'm a league fan.
I honestly do feel though that we see when other teams come in, there's always these extracurriculars and all this stuff happening. Maybe we just don't notice it on our end. But I mean, you don't see Kane going out of his way to take a guy out. Maybe it's frustration because they're, arguably outplaying us and down 5-1 or whatever it was at that point, right?
Well, I mean, look at this. Look at this way. Just reading the blogs and whatnot. The Dallas fans are elated. They're coming out like they're actually happy about the injuries to the Oilers, and that's a little victory that they're going to be taking. And I'm talking about just reading stuff online, going, all of that was clean. There's nothing to look at. Oh, the Evander Kane slash on Heinz, who's dressed for the game, and then he didn't play. And you know why I know why he didn't play, because I saw him in the warm-ups and the fans were all over this guy, man. This guy was skating around. He was standing by the glass and the fans were all over him. He skates over. He goes, yeah, maybe not a good idea. I play tonight, right? Who knows? But I mean, Dallas fans are taking a lot out of this. They're taking a lot of satisfaction out of this with the injuries. But if that's their game plan, to focus on hurting the Oilers and lose the game 6-1, then so be it. So be it.
Yeah. Friend of mine texted me. We were going back and forth with in the chat groups and whatnot. I sent you a couple messages. I, for the life of me, could not believe some of our fans thinking that, oh, we weren't too worried in the second there. We kept them to the outside. We did to the most, but we were peppered. We were caved in that second period.
That's right. Yeah.
The expected goals and all of those advanced stats and stuff supported that. The Cult, I think they did the way they do their grades are. I like the way they do it. I think that we had 19 chances against. I mean, we had 14-4. A lot of them were counterattack, right?
Mhm.
But the funniest thing I saw last night was when someone texted me saying that, hey, listen, this is probably you can't even argue this. This is Dallas's best game of the series so far, and we're up 5-1. We're up 5-1 at that point, right?
Right.
So we gotta take the positive in that, right? Because this is their gut punch, and we're up 5-1, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. There's a lot of little lines here for Dallas that's really like taking the wind out of their sail, is that they were a third tier comeback team, right? Just like Oilers have. I mean, historically they've been like that, but Dallas took a lot of pride coming back in the third. I think they did that a few times against Winnipeg and Colorado, and they were known. And now we've kind of flipped the script on them, where the Oilers are doing that. Not just doing that, not allowing them to come back, but we got most of our goals in the third there, and just completely. If they had any hopes of or any thoughts of, yeah, we'll take this in the third period, was gone, right? And I think we just keep it up. We just keep doing that.
I like the change in the last few games where we've taken the lead. Last 2 games, wire to wire. Start of the playoffs and joking as well out even after game 1, they're like, you guys got to go down 1-0, 2-0, and then you'll start playing. Last couple games, I'd like the fact that we've held the lead throughout the game.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of that. Going back to the stuff with the NHL and whatnot, that Connor Brown Petrovic incident, right? That's I don't know. I feel like that should be reviewed. And
I think so too.
It's one of those hits that they're actually trying to eliminate from the NHL. I can't remember, but a little while back, it might have been last year, it might have been the middle of this year. They released some of the stuff they were talking about, the GMs and whatnot at whatever their meetings, and they were saying that in the past those hits were acceptable, and because there was a point in time where we just weren't sure why they were calling some and not others and whatnot. And it sounds to me like the NHL is supposed to be making a concerted effort to get that stuff out of the game. So with that in mind, they should be reviewing that, in my opinion. Right?
At the very minimum, I think that a review, if nothing else, the Stars should be given a warning. Like, listen, it's obvious what you guys are trying to do here. Play tough. Nobody said don't play tough, but to intentionally try and hurt some of these players. I mean, to the point where you notice that Hardy got a penalty for, after Hyman, after the whistle's gone already.
Ben hit him first, and then Harley hits him.
And then Harley hits him, and then even the refs have enough. I mean, I wasn't expecting, of all the different things the refs could have called a penalty, they called a penalty on that.
There's like 90 seconds left, right? And then you do it at that point. Like, come on. Yeah, should have started doing it a little bit sooner.
Exactly.
But Hyman, I used to think that guy was like a real goody two shoes, nice, humble guy. But you could see him chirping.
Yeah.
They showed, I can't remember, when he took that penalty, he was laughing at him, right?
Yeah.
And then I can't remember if it was the start of I think it was the start of Hockey Night in Canada yesterday. He came in and he hit, I think he hit Harley. And he's like, "This, you can expect this all series. It's coming all series or whatever." I love that. I didn't really think he was that kind of guy, but I loved it.
Awesome.
I like him a little bit more after seeing that.
And they're not looking, the thing I should mention is that I don't know if it was by design or if it was a fluke that these, like Hyman got injured just before the playoffs started. He got some time off to get some rest. Obviously, McDavid was out for a little bit. Leon was out for a little bit. These guys look a little bit more fresh. They don't look as gassed and tired as they did last year. At this point, at the same point last year, although we beat the Stars, we were up against the Stars last year too, right? We did beat them. You could see that they were a little bit gassed. I'm not seeing that right now. They still look pretty fresh to me. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that there's a few reasons for that. I think the time off probably helped these guys. They're recuperating. I also think that getting rid of Vegas in 5 versus going distance with Vancouver. Draisaitl got hurt in that game or in that series. Kane, I after he came back into that series and he kind of, there's a few incidences with Zadorov. Zadorov didn't do anything after like game 3 or game 4, whatever it was. And I think that took a lot out of Kane. So part of that is, finishing off a series earlier, having time to rest. Also, if you look at the minutes, I feel like we've had more of a 4-line distribution throughout the playoffs. Especially after we started going against LA. Last night, I think McDavid and Nurse were the only guys over 20 minutes. Everyone else was under 20 minutes, which I think is great, right?
Yeah. Well, what are these fans going to do in the other cities now that the Oilers are winning? I mean, all these All these fans are bandwagoning with the Stars now. I go online and it's so nice and peaceful, man. Crickets. There are no Canuck fans chirping. There are no
Yeah, I
Flames
mean,
fans chirping.
honestly, I don't even go online or anything. I stay away from that stuff.
That's where the
But
fun is.
yeah, with respect to just want to touch back on minutes. It seems also. I mean, this is another reason why I'm very disappointed with what happened to Frederic. He actually his minutes are going up, and it looks like he's starting to feel better.
Yeah.
Then
Or
that
was
happens,
until
right?
last night. I don't know.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, there's no word on whether he'll be okay.
No, I try to find some info on that. Apparently, we're waiting to see who's going to show up for the lines today, and the sense was
The
that at
shape,
least, well, Brown for sure is out apparently, but whether or not even Nuge and Fred would show up for the practice today, so
is
we'll wait
Brown
and
out
see.
for sure? Is that what they're saying?
Uh, Indications are right because he didn't come to the game back too, right? And that's what the morning shows were saying that if I don't know if they're just saving him for the rest because at that point the game was still reachable for Dallas. I don't think it was out of reach for Dallas at that point, and he left and he didn't come back. So we'll wait and see.
But it was still 2-1 when that, or was it 2-0? I can't remember. It was either
Uh,
2-0 or 2-1
Yeah, it
when that
was
happened.
close. It was still close. It was 2-1 or
Yeah.
2-0, but it was still close. So for him to leave at that
Well,
point,
I mean, we don't know, right? Because there's protocol, right?
yeah,
So you got to be in. Maybe he didn't pass the protocol, or maybe, um, he could have come back in, but it's 3-1 at that point. We don't know,
yeah,
right? Hopefully he's okay. I mean, he's a tough guy, so
yeah.
I feel like if he can play and he can go, he's going to go. But I'd rather have him, ready than
Well,
not ready
even
and try and rush him, right?
last couple of practices, he hasn't been on the ice. So maybe there's something else that's bothering him. But this would be
Well, yeah, I mean, he blocked a shot against Vegas, and I think
right.
he with his foot in Game 5, I think it was. So that he's not been practicing because of that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed, but his speed is it's been great.
Yeah. Yeah, good time. So the next game tomorrow night, it looks like you know, it's funny. I
Who's
hear all
starting?
these commentators saying we actually don't need Ekholm, which is what but it's true at this point. Stetch is playing great, man. I love the guy, small guy, but he's putting it all out there on the ice. The addition of Klingberg has been amazing. The guy. I mean, he scored last night, which was awesome. He scored against his former team, but he's playing at a great clip. Wallman's doing all right. And I don't. It's okay if we just keep, I think, Ekholm on the shelf until next series. Maybe give him a game before or whatever. But I'm okay with him just being nice and fresh for the next round goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think with respect to Ekholm, I want to touch on Klingberg as well. But one thing with Ekholm, if he's not 100%, if he's not like if he's cleared and he's like 85%, I say sit him, keep him. A Leaf fan, we were talking about this. I think I can't remember which series it was. But even Don Cherry, all these guys say you never break up a winning lineup, right? There was I think it was a conference final. I think it was a conference final against Carolina.
Right.
They were up 1-0 in that series. Sundin was out. He got knocked out of the second round. And Toronto was playing Carolina, I think it was, and they were up 1-0 in the series. And Sundin was ready to go, so they brought him back in. They lost the next four. The way the D's going, I agree with you. I feel like there's people saying let's go 11-7, especially if Brown can't go, and
Yeah.
let's see what he's got.
I've heard that
I
too.
feel like you don't want to mess that stuff up. I
Right.
feel honestly, arguably last night, I feel like Stetcher was more solid than Nurse. I felt like
Yeah.
Nurse, even McDavid to a certain degree, had some problems in their own zone. Um, I thought Stetcher was, I wouldn't say carrying Nurse, but I thought he had a stronger game than Nurse. And I feel like he's the obvious odd man out. But when he's playing the way he's playing, he's giving you what you need. And everybody else is sort of just driving, and the D is playing so well, especially in our own zone. I feel like you don't want to mess with that chemistry.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
as much as I enjoy watching at home, right? And the PKs sort of figured it out. Touch wood. Where's wood?
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
right.
I'm
So
hoping that Brown is back. I mean, he's a big part of the PK, right?
yeah,
And
he is. So
but I
if
do like.
Brown doesn't play, though, who draws in?
I think. Well, I mean, everybody seems to be on the same boat with this, but I think for whatever reason, Arvidsson's next in the line. They're not going to put Skinner in, Jeff Skinner, that is.
Yeah,
Which is
I think
sad.
they
I
bring
do want to see the
Arvidsson
guy
back.
get in. I want him to draw in there, man. The guy's waited over 1,000 games to play in the NHL playoffs here, and
Well, he's
I
got
get it.
one game. Did he get a
Yeah,
point?
yeah.
I don't think he got a point, right?
Minus
Or maybe he
two.
got
I don't
one
know if he got any
assist.
points.
I know he was -1.
It's minus two.
Was he -2?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's the only minus player right now on the team. I mean, as of this morning, unless I'm wrong, somebody can correct me, but he's the only minus player we have, and I do want to see him get in there. I think I don't know what it is. Obviously, coach is not a fan of his defensive play, but I think he's been around the team long enough now. Hopefully, there's a buy-in from the guy. If he does draw in, that he plays a little bit of defensive game, he can, he can score the goals for you.
I thought he was doing pretty good, especially when everybody went down.
I agree.
He
I
had
thought
some
he was
chemistry
too.
with Brown and McDavid,
Yeah, yeah,
and he was playing really well. I mean,
yeah,
with offensive guys, all you can really ask for them is to come back hard
yeah,
and stick to their guy. And I thought he started doing that. And also, he was battling in the corners and whatnot. I mean, I think the one thing is he doesn't have the size. And with respect to Arvidsson, he doesn't really have the size either, but he plays bigger. So we'll see. But neither of those guys kill. So if
yeah,
Brown's out, that's a big issue. Like,
yeah.
what are we going to do? We're going to see Leon killing, maybe Kapanen killing.
Well, they've been utilizing McDavid quite a bit, and he's been dangerous on the PK, right? So he's.
Yes.
I don't want to tire him out, but like you said, all their minutes have dropped significantly, and I think that they can carry a little bit of time on the PK. I don't mind McDavid on there. I mean, he waits for his chances, and when he goes, he goes. He's had some opportunities.
Yeah.
But yeah, the team's just going to have to pick it up a little bit in Brown's
Let's see.
absence. Brown has an active stick on the PK. He intercepts a lot of passes. He's always breaking out. We're going to miss him dearly if he's not back next game. But yeah,
we'll see. Just don't take any penalties.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So what's
Um,
next on the agenda here? What are we looking at on the other side of the pond here? Well, on the other side of the continent here, we're looking at Florida just mopping the floor with Carolina. I don't think they're coming back from 3-0. They have nothing left. There's no fight in there. Have you watched any of the games yet?
I have. After the last pod, I watched that midway through the second. It seemed like it was pretty even. It seemed like it was good until it wasn't. And then Florida just.
That's right.
I don't even know. It wasn't even like Florida poured it on. It was like Carolina just caved. It was weird.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree. I think that Carolina was carrying the play for some of that game. At least they were aggressive. They were at the very least at par with the play with the Panthers, but kind of similar to our game last night. Although they didn't have a lot of shots, that's Florida. That is, they scored on their opportunities. They were coming out those shots with deadly.
Yeah. I feel like the goals though were like Anderson. I don't know, right? Some of those goals reminded me.
You just don't like goalies, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you even said that to me. You said that, and I agreed.
Don't repeat that. Don't repeat that. He's channeled his inner Skinner.
Yeah. I don't know. Dustin Nielsen tweeted, and he's like, "That's it. We don't even need Game 4. This is it."
Yeah. Well, from where I'm sitting, I think I mentioned this to you, is whether it's Carolina or it's Florida, I don't care because they've both beaten the Oil in 7 in the finals. We have a score to settle with either one of those two. So whoever it is, bring him on, right? Let's just. But I like you said, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I think that next game is critical for the Oil. I think they have to close it out very strong at home here, and then see if they can finish it off in Dallas. But at least put the stranglehold on these guys.
We have to be much better tomorrow. We got to be tighter.
It's not over yet, man. It's not over yet.
No, not by a long shot.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty nervous. Just looking at Dallas's last couple of series, right? Yeah. They lost badly against Colorado.
That's right.
And I can't remember if they lost badly against one. I think they did. I think they got shut up 4-0 against Winnipeg, and they were just that, right? I think it was
a couple of times they got shut out 4-0. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like we definitely got to be better.
Yeah.
I feel like I was really, especially in that second period, McDavid his line was the only one driving and attacking, I felt. And I was really happy about that. But I do feel like he was also personally responsible for a lot of the gaffes that were happening. Like he was blowing the zone on 50-50 chances. And at this point, we have a 2-0 lead. I get it. He recognizes and he's leading the attack and whatnot. But when you've got a 2-0 lead, if it's 50-50 along the boards, why are you blowing your zone? That's the reason why we were down 2-0 against LA. And that's the cause of most of our problems throughout this team's life, right? So we need to clean some of that up. We need to clean some of that up. And it was interesting because, like, I don't remember the last time in a 6-1 game you could say that your goaltender was your best player, right? I can't even believe I'm saying that Skinner was our best player. But
no, it's good, man. I hope it's a turning point for Skinner. I think that there's something that maybe he's figured out. He's playing more confident, right? And the team in front of him is playing more confident.
I understand all of that, but we've seen this before.
When he's on, it takes time. Right?
When he's on, he's on. When he's on, he's on. When he's not on, he's not on.
Yeah.
I don't
And
care
like
what
I said
anybody
before, it's all
says.
mental, right? It's all mental.
It
It's
is.
not his game. It's not his skill. It's all mental. And I'm hoping that he's figured something out where he doesn't let the play in front of him panic him. Normally, he seems like a really cool cat in net. He doesn't seem like he gets phased very much by anything. But I do think that some of the gaffes that are caused is by a weak goal, and then after that, he had a tough time recovering. If he lets in a weak one,
Well, and,
you
and
know,
that's it. So what I have heard, I mean, I'm by no means an insider, but there's a guy that we know in one of the chats that we're in. He posted this. He said one of his buddies is a trainer or something and knows Skinner's coach or something. And he was saying that he's a very high strung guy, and he's very up and he's very down, and that's his biggest downfall. And that's what they've been telling him is he needs to. I don't know if you remember that convo,
I
which
do
I was
remember.
very surprised about. I have another story, but we won't share that one because we'll maybe share that depending on how next game goes. We might share it. But I mean, just the hotness and the coldness of it all. I don't care what anybody says. You will never convince me that we should have been down 3-0 last playoffs in the finals against
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah, yeah,
I put a lot of that on. If our goaltending was better, we could have been up 2-1 in that series as opposed
yeah,
to down 3-0, right?
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, let's see what happens here. I'm cautiously optimistic about our chances next game. If the Oil come out and play a little bit better than they did last night, I think that they have a really good chance of being up 3-1. But it is very important. I think tomorrow's game is probably the critical point in the series. It could
Absolutely.
change the tide either way. If Dallas wins, you're going back to Dallas 2-2, and anything is possible down there. So we just don't want to give them that confidence because Dallas is still a very
Listen,
solid team.
listen. It's last year we won game one in Dallas, double OT. We probably should have won that game in regulation.
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
Right? Game two, we're up 2-0. They come back, they win. Or no, sorry, game two, we were just terrible. Game three, we're up 2-0, and they come back and win. They're up 2-1, and we're like, oh my god, right? Game four, we're down 2-0. I think we have to call a timeout. Everybody wanted to kill Nurse. Rover's in the game. All of a sudden, right? So you can never get too ahead of yourself.
You can't.
This
I agree.
is not by any means in the bag. I do hope. I keep hearing maturity from all of these guys talking about being mature.
That's right.
I'm hoping that they actually, back that up with some mature play because I saw a lot of immature play in that second period, particularly. We just got to wake up. We can't stop skating. When we are skating, in my opinion, we can run them into the ground.
Yeah,
I have some Oilers supporters, but not necessarily fans that are watching. And the common theme again during the game is they're like, "Oh my god, here comes a freight train," and it's like Dallas, like that Nugent Hopkins play, right? I was complaining about it, and one of the guys was like, "Listen, it's when you get desperate, this is what people do, right? So you're trying to stop this freight train. I feel like we gotta keep going. We can't stop attacking, but we definitely got to clean up in our zone. I think we pull it off. I think it's gonna be close. I say we're gonna win 3-1, 3-2, or it's gonna be like a
What were
4-3
the
game.
predictions? Do we have any predictions? I said 4-1, I think. And you said,
When last game?
yeah.
Last game I said 4-3, and I think you said 4-1 or something. You were closer.
All right, let's make some predictions for the next one, bud.
I'm keeping my I'm spreading it around. I said it's either going to be like a 3-1, 4-2, 4-3 type of game. We'll see.
I can't disagree. I don't think it's going to be another blowout. I think that it's going to be a close game. If there is a game that potentially goes into overtime, I think it's tomorrow night's game because I think Dallas is going to throw the kitchen sink at the Oil and try and get at least a win out of. They want to take home ice advantage back, obviously. So they're going to do everything they can. I say whatever it is, it's going to be a very close 1-goal game and potentially in overtime.
You think it's going to OT?
Possibly.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
One thing I noticed about this last game, it felt like it was never going to end. I'm not sure if that's because we were up and they started taking liberties, but I was looking at my watch, and I swear the previous two games ended at least a half an hour before that game.
I think what it is you
like,
wanted the game to end because we were up already.
maybe, but I looked at my watch, and I was like, wow, because it felt like the game started at 5. By 7:30, 7:40, it's over.
Yeah,
The game started at like 12, and it was like 3 something, and it was not over, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's okay. As long as we're up, man, and we can enjoy it. I know my kids, my son, who's a bigger Oiler fan than I ever been, and he was jumping for joy every goal. I'm sure the neighbors heard the screaming and the yelling, but that's what it's about, man.
Yeah. I started watching hockey because of my mom, and she hasn't been watching. She hasn't been keeping up. She's been preoccupied with a bunch of other stuff. But yesterday she watched the game, and so we were watching it together, and she was screaming as well, which is nice. And she got right back into it. So I think she's back into it. I feel like last year she was heartbroken, and she's like, I'm not gonna watch these guys anymore. I'm too invested. But she's back on the
broken, man. Everybody was.
I was like you when we went down 3-0.
Oh man, that was brutal. I don't even want to feel that again.
Yeah,
because I watched the series against Carolina where Rolly was going, and honestly, man, I still think had he been in net, we would have had
game.
Yeah,
we're up huge in that game. Pronger scored on a penalty shot, and we're rolling, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened.
Oh, the guy got injured. Rolly got Bergeron, number 47.
So many things. I still don't understand why Conklin was the backup that game.
Made no
Conklin
sense
was terrible all year long, but they kept switching out between Conklin and Markkanen.
Made no sense.
And just so happened game 1 is Conklin, and he goes in. Oh my god.
Oh man, the feelings are coming back. Stop.
Yeah.
I remember him behind the net trying to handle the puck and passing it to the guy in the front. I was like,
he centered it like, what the hell,
dude? I'm reliving all of that all over again, man.
Yeah.
PTSD here. PTSD. Can't
now
have
it. Now I'm having to picture Skinner making a glove save. That glove save. Before we leave, we gotta change the tone here. But that glove save.
Oh, beautiful.
If you watch it,
I know what you gotta say. But I'm a goalie. I'm always on the goalie side, man. No, he reached out for it.
You know what? What was super impressive about that is he was out right on the top of the paint.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Duchesne shot it right into the glove. He did shoot it right into his glove, but he had nowhere else to shoot.
Exactly.
But what's funny
Look what I
is
found.
Curtis Joseph. It reminds me of Cujo. And he would always go like even Ranford or whatever, and they would ask them about that. And they're like, obviously, you have to do that for the fans, right? So nice little show by Skinner there, right? Everyone went out of their seat.
Stabs the other team a little bit, right? It kind of like tells them, you're not going to do it, right? I don't know what the scouting report is on the guy, but if you're going to go glove side, I know the previous series, apparently that was a scouting report on Skinner, was glove side. And for him to make those glove saves, it just sends a message, don't even try, which is great. Put a little bit of doubt in their minds. That's all it's about.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, buddy. So we will see what happens tomorrow. Fingers crossed, Browns in. Fingers crossed we clean it up, and fingers crossed we get the W. And then we get game 5 would be in Dallas on Thursday then, right?
That's right. And tonight, Florida has a chance to close it all out against Carolina. And I think Carolina just wants to be put out of their misery, to be honest with you. What are they fighting for now? There's no fight. So it seems obviously.
The only 2 times that anybody's come back, and I think, has it been 2 times or 3 times? It's been in the conference finals. I remember Boston did it to Philadelphia, right? To make the finals. Right. And they were down 3-0 in game 7 as well, I think.
Yeah.
LA did it once as well. Has there only been 2 teams, or has there been 3?
I don't know the numbers on that, but it's not very often. The only difference is that I don't see any fight in Carolina.
Yeah, there's no life. There's
no life. I see Stahl as the only guy who's running around. Other than that, like, they just don't have it in them to come back. Unless something happens to Florida. I know 3 players are not playing tonight for them. Reinhardt's not playing, right? So he's injured. But you got Marchand on that side, man. I mean, he's not going to let these guys come back from 0-3. And you know what I mean? So it looks like we're going to be facing Florida again in the final.
I was wrong. So it's happened 4 times.
Oh.
Toronto, I mean, this is like before anybody was born. 1942, Toronto over Detroit. That was in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
1975, the Islanders defeated Pittsburgh in the conference finals. It was that was the quarterfinals. Conference finals was Philly over Boston. It wasn't Boston over Philly. Philly did it to Boston in 2010 when Pronger took the Flyers there. And then it was 2014 first round LA. I think it was San Jose they played. I can't remember now.
Right.
It doesn't show up. Yeah, so it's only happened 4 times. Only happened 2 times in the last 14 years.
I'm going to go on record and tell you it's not happening this time around.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening this
Florida
year. It almost happened last year in the finals, but
would have been glorious.
Sam Reinhart from right row 3, right-handed shot down the right wing. Never gonna unsee that. Anyways, we'll chat again. Hopefully after another victory.
Sounds good, buddy. Oilers Nation, cheer loud. Yeah, stay loud.
All right. Take care, guys.
Okay, take care. We'll talk to you soon.